at the concert, the Outlaws, they had this like campsite thing set up, and then they had a rope all the way around like their area, and then they'd have like cardboard signs hanging on there that said "No Man's Land."
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Wayne D.
Which was a lot of money in 1977. You know, that was kind of a lot of money for, like a chopper. But he had a brand new motor. But, you know, it was a piece together bike. He had a 48 Hydroglide transmission, 48 Hydroglide wide glide front end, 56 frame. But, you know, I loved it. That was my first. I kept that bike for 12 years. In fact, I sold it to a club brother, and he rode it for, he had it for 7-8 years, and then he sold it. But that bike, yeah, that's the bike that I met all these guys on. I rode in the club with. Yeah.
So your time before all this time, do you have any interactions with the Outlaws, and what were your thoughts on the Outlaws?
My first interaction, well, let me go back. My first interaction with the Outlaws, I was probably, I think 19, and I went, my buddy and I stole his sister's car and drove to this rock festival in Sedalia, Missouri. Okay. Crazy. We got no car accident on the way there, got lost in East St. Louis and some in the ghetto, you know, make it to the concert. But at the concert, the Outlaws, they had this like campsite thing set up, and then they had a rope all the way around like their area, and then they'd have like cardboard signs hanging on there that said "No Man's Land" there. So it was like you'd walk by and you'd see all these outlaws in there, you know.
Yeah.
They were intimidating, you know. But, you know, I like bikers. That's what I wanted to do. So I'm like, I tell my buddy, I go, come on, let's go over here. And he's like, really? And I go, yeah, you know. So, because I saw people jump, you know, going over the little No Man's Land thing. And
so you're gonna go to No Man's Land?
Yeah, I go to No Man's Land. We jump over the fence. Now, I think at this time I lost everything I had at that concert. Like I lost my shirt, all I had was my pants, lost my shoes. You know, it was summertime. So we go in there, and some guys some friends of ours from where we lived, they were at the concert too. We hooked up with them. But this guy had, I don't know, he had like 25 hits of acid or something in this bowl, in this little thing. He says to this, one of the Outlaws, he's like, hey, you want to buy some acid? And I'm thinking, even back then, I knew, I was like, I rolled my eyes. I'm thinking, no, what are you doing, you know? And the guy says, yeah, let me see it. And so he hands it to him, and he takes out five hits, freaking takes them himself, hands the bottle to his friends and passes them around and goes, thanks. That was it.
You didn't give him no money, no nothing.
Nothing. Right? Nothing. And I'm by that time, I'm kind of, I go, hey, Scott, let's go, you know. We just walked off, you know. So that was my first ever interaction with the Outlaws. Then I knew that the guys, like these older guys in the club, had relationships, you know, knew the Outlaws and knew certain members in that. But we used to have a guy that used to kind of stop regularly, because I think where we were was in northern Illinois, and we called this guy State Line, because I think he lived up around Janesville, like around the border or whatever. But he seemed like I would run into him quite a bit. Like he would come to our events, not with other outlaws, but by himself. And he was a cool guy. but I was standoffish of him because he wasn't like warm and fuzzy. But then I got to know him a little bit, and
Yeah.
he was okay. But I can remember going to the clubhouse in Chicago. I think it was the North Side Clubhouse. Man, I just would never really get comfortable there, because guys would be like fishing for mud checking, doing a lot of mud checking, just you don't know these guys, and it's their event, it's their party, and I would just I'd socialize and stuff, but just kind of kept my distance, I guess, for lack of better, because I didn't know him that well, I knew a couple, like I knew another guy who'd been in a club and he made the jump to the Outlaws. Okay. So, and I knew him for a long time. But it wasn't like we interacted a lot, and we dated the same girl at one time, and he warned me about her too. And, but I didn't listen.
You didn't listen, yeah.
I didn't listen.
You didn't listen. When you first get involved with this club, you're prospecting, right?
Right.
How long did that period last for? What was prospecting?
For me, not very long. 3 months, maybe.
And did they put you to a lot of tests?
Yeah, mud check type stuff. Like I say, I learned early on. I opened up my mouth at a party or something to somebody, and it came back to our president, and he read me the riot act, and said something like, just assume you're being tested all the time and you won't get into trouble, or something like that, along those lines, No, I had to do, I had to go through the traditional, I think I dodged the ceremony, the traditional ceremony for a while. I got my patch, but it didn't get brought up about, he's got to be indoctrinated, which included drinking anything and everything somebody poured into your engineer boot. You'd have to drink out of that, okay? While guys are pouring STP on your hair.
Oil. They're dumping oil on you.
Oil. Right? And STP, if you ever try to get that out, brother, I'm telling you. So I got the STP treatment, and this is going all over my cut.
Yeah, so you got your cut, right? And it's getting poured all over you.
Yeah.
So that's the cut you used to wear, was denim?
Yeah, denim back then. This was so this patch here, the lightning bolts, it's worn out now, but it used to say 1-7, and that was for the first 7 members of the club. Okay, and then my name Drano was on here. This thing can almost stand up by itself.
Where'd you get the name Drano from?
So, okay. The guy that I bought that first bike from, with the wide glide front end, the straight leg frame, him and I became friends. And he was in a club, I can't remember, Odin or something like that. So Odin MC. But anyway, we became friends. He lived down the street from the bar that I drank at, this kind of biker bar. And so we became friends. I bought his bike. We kind of hung out, sort of the same people. But I was in there and, raging alcoholic. I'm in there one day and the bartender says, I know what will fix you. And he says, have you ever had Malort? And I said, nope. And so he poured me a shot of Malort. Have you ever had it?
No.
Yeah. It's I can't even describe how horrible it is. It's bad, man. It's like I can't even describe what it tastes like. But he saw me drink that, and I think he had had a little taste of it or something. He spit it out. He said, "Man, you drank all of that?" And I said, "Yeah." He start calling you Drano. You can drink anything, and the name stuck, and I'm like, man, known as freaking Drano. Then my brother found out about it. He still calls me Drano to this day.
Did a lot of the people in the club have crazy weird names like that?
So we had me. There was a guy named Spider, a guy named Little Bit, Big John, Hans.
Why'd they call him Little Bit? Did he say, "Let me get a little bit" or something?
Yeah, he was kind of, he had this sort of Southern accent, and he always wore one of those, the kind of traditional Harley leather hat, Thing was like formed to his head, man. He'd had it so long. But he'd get real mad and he'd start talking real fast. Hey, God damn it, Drano. God damn it, Drano. What are you doing? And so I don't know how he got his name, but that's what they called him. He wasn't little. But yeah, everybody had, what they say, Moondog. There was a guy, we called him Gacy because he was kind of a creepy dude. We call him Gacy. Yeah, everybody had like a road name. That's just how it was. It was way before cell phones and all that stuff. But
was there any accidents when you were involved with this club?
Oh yeah. So yeah, first year I had that bike. I slid it across the intersection. We were coming down the road at night, about 4 or 5 of us, and the road stopped and teed, and I didn't see it or didn't stop in time. So I slid across the intersection into a telephone pole. It had like a perfect imprint on my gas tank of this telephone pole. I didn't really get hurt. I kind of got thrown off. It was sort of a
better than an imprint of the telephone pole in your head, right?
Absolutely. The worst accident I got to, and it was when I was in the club. We were down near somewhere around, it was in Missouri somewhere because we had to go through the city and the Golden Arches and that. So we're on this weekend run. And so Saturday, and I haven't slept, I've been up since like Thursday, So at like Saturday at like, I don't know, 3 o'clock, I decide, man, I'm leaving. I'm cutting out. I'm leaving. They're like, where are you going? I go, I'm going to go back home, And they're like, seriously? And I'm like, yeah, I got stuff to do or something. I don't know. So I get on my bike. I start heading back, and I'm thinking, well, it was about a 5-6 hour ride. So I'm calculating, okay, 9:30, 10, I'll make it back to the bar. So I'm riding along, and I'm kind of on the outskirts, almost on the other side of St. Louis there towards Illinois. And I get off this off ramp to get gas. And so as I get off, I'm looking back like this, and I see a dude and a lady in a sidecar merging up. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll make sure I'm over in the right lane. And when I look forward, my front end goes down into this, it's like a chunk of asphalt, like the size of a manhole cover, right in the middle of the road. So my front wheel goes down into that. I go flying over the handlebars. I literally see my bike cartwheeling like this. So it's like, Bill, this is incredible. But I'm thinking, okay, tuck and roll, I get into this tuck, but I can see my motorcycle doing cartwheeling end over end like this. I finally stop. I wake up. This lady that had been in the sidecar she's kind of holding my head. She's like, take it easy, take it easy. And I wake up, and, I've been speeding for the last couple of days. I get up and I'm like, where's my motorcycle? And I'm
Did you have
mother,
a helmet? Helmet on?
no helmet, no helmet at all. I'm MFing this, I'm mad. And she's like, calm down, calm down. And I'm like, where's my bike? And I get up and they had already bandaged my hands. I had just like little fingertips because when I tried to stop myself by putting my hands on it, I just tore my palms off. So my bike's laying over in the ditch. I had a little solo seat on there. The battery had flown out of the oil tank. I get the battery, I put it back in, get my tools out, and I'm like, if this doesn't start, the cop's like, you should really go and have that checked, go to the hospital. I said, nah, I got to be to work on Monday. If this thing starts, I'm out of here. Guy helped me push it up on the side of the road. The only thing that was wrong with the bike, Bill, not a scratch on the paint or anything. It was a little scratch on the handlebars, I think. And I think they might have got tweaked a little bit. The headlight, the little chrome trim ring around the headlight, it was like sanded down where it had like slid along the roadway or something. I'm looking at the bike. I'm going, this is unbelievable. Like I literally saw the thing cartwheel. So we get it up, a couple of kicks, it fires up, see ya. Down the road, got gas, rode home, made it to the bar at like, I don't know, 10 o'clock. And I walk in and they said, hey, you won the lottery or whatever, the football lottery or whatever it was. And they said, you won $175. And I'm like, drinks for everybody.
Yeah. You're like, today's my lucky day.
Today's my lucky day. I told them what happened. And I used to think about that, man, and I'd almost get sick to my stomach, after I sobered up and got, I'm talking many years later after the event. At the time, I thought, yeah, whatever. I didn't think of it like
another day, right?
I'm lucky. Yeah, I was like, yeah. In fact, I remember used to tell guys, I said, you don't really ride that much if you don't go down at least once a year. That was my thought process.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I tell you.
There's probably a lot of people watching right now that maybe are in a club and thinking about getting out, or they're thinking about joining a club. What would be your advice to that person?
My advice would be hang around a lot, just really get to know these people, for me, I was very young when I came in. So, my thought process changed over the years. When I moved out here, I was thinking, I'm in my 40s, maybe I'll go hang out at the local 81 and see what happens. And then, you start thinking it through. Like, okay, I'm 44 years old. I'm not going to make it in the club till I'm in my 50s, I would just say really, really get to know these people. And I can tell you one thing, the guys that were in that club, when I had my 5 years in the club, but I also, my 5-year sobriety was about the same time, a few months before, but they came over in the summer. So it was a little bit before my 5-year anniversary in the club. Had no idea. I was sitting there. I kept telling my ex-wife, I was like, I think I'm going to go for a ride or something. Like, no, just, hang out here or whatever. And all of a sudden, I hear these Harleys. I hear this thunder, I look, here they come down the street. And it's, probably 15 members of our club came to congratulate me on my sobriety, and they were really supportive, one guy told me, early on when I first got sober in '83, he's like, take some time off, there's not much going on, and he says, take a little time off, and then, if you want to come back or whatever, everything's cool. They were.
See, that's the difference. I heard a story today about about a 1% club guy that was in the club. He decided to get sober, and they booted him out of the club when he decided to get sober.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty crazy, because it's funny. The longer I was sober, in fact, the president at the time was a really good friend of mine. He's since passed. He came over, and I mean, the whole time we were there, I mean, after we got to thank, congratulations on being sober, and that, he's like, yeah, we really need you back. We'd like to have you come back. And I was like, man, Tom, because I felt like, if you're going to be in that lifestyle, you need to participate. You need to go to the events. You need to go out to the bars and stuff with the guys, if that's what they're doing. And I was kind of feeling like, you know what? I'm not being active.
Yeah, but everyone doesn't drink, right? Or do they all drink?
Well, back then, yeah, it seemed like everybody drank that I knew, you know. But, when I got sober, I told him, hey, man, I got to go to these meetings, I'm court mandated. I got to go to this counselor. They were really supportive about it. They're like, yeah, but at the same time, people don't understand. Like, they think, okay, he's going to just quit drinking and he's going to come hang out, Well,
yeah.
Who wants to do that,
Yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah, everybody's getting loaded and stuff. You want to do the same thing. And
you don't want to be around that.
My sobriety was more important. So,
especially when you get sober, you don't want to hang out with people that are drinking when you're sober. It's not appealing anymore.
No,
it's not appealing.
People, they repeat themselves all the time. And I'll tell you what, I was probably 3 months sober. I was on my bike. My ex-wife was out of town. I went to a meeting, and I thought, I'm gonna stop at this bar that I used to hang out at all the time. I'm gonna stop, see the people. I can do it, Well, I walked in there, and I saw this chick at the bar who I knew was a friend of mine's girlfriend, and she went to give me a kiss, and the alcohol came out of her breath, came out, and I was like, I looked around, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here, and I turned around and I left. And she's like, where are you going? I'm like, yeah, I don't belong in here.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of years that I had to, I couldn't go into a place. Now, if I want to see a band or something like that, I don't even think about it, Yeah. Back then it was, and it seemed like, to me, everybody drank. I mean, that's what we did on the weekends. We'd ride around, if you were going, somebody was having a party somewhere, some clubhouse, you go there, and what do you do at parties? You drink, and so, and then you got to think about riding home intoxicated and stuff, which I never did, but rode intoxicated lots of times. And
I'm sure.
I'm, by the grace of God, I'm still here. So.
Must have been your lucky day.
Yes.
Again. Right?
Club life is fun, but you really have to know your own lifestyle and know your limitations, and are you willing to, especially a 1%er club, which again, I don't, like back then, I don't even remember really talking about, they're a diamond club or that. They're the Outlaws, or us, But
like we were talking, the Hell's Henchmen weren't a diamond club.
No, but they had a reputation, in the area. They had a reputation for, taking care of business, So they were, they weren't punks by any stretch of the imagination. They were tough guys. But that's, you hear it over and over. What's the outcome of this? It's going to possibly be prison, or, you're going to get killed on your motorcycle, like, I don't know. There's, I ride more. I mean, I ride a lot these days. You know, my buddy and I every Saturday, and I ride almost every day of the week. But every Saturday we do usually 200 to 300 miles on a Saturday morning.
Even in the cold?
Even in the cold. Yeah, we get this last weekend, of course, you know, cold to us. But, you know, in the wintertime here, it'd be like 50s, 60s. 60 here is pretty cold when you've lived, but when it's 115 in the summer and it's very.
You at Phoenix, right? You're in Phoenix?
Yeah.
Big difference though between there and Illinois.
Oh my God. And that was the reason I moved out there. I wanted to ride my motorcycle year round. And then, you know, I thought, well, who knows what can happen. I was just tired of the weather where I lived. I wanted to live in a state. I got divorced, so I wanted to go live somewhere where I could ride year round. And my brother lives here, so, you know, close to him. And I got a brother up north, was in Northern California. So, you know, life is good today, you know. Having that drink, I think I told you, you know, knock on wood. I'm in my 42nd year. If I make it to July 31st, it'll be 42 years.
Congratulations, man. That's a huge accomplishment. Huge.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy because I hate to say I take it for granted, but I probably do take it for granted, and I shouldn't. But yeah, that is, alcohol is something I know. Just for me, it doesn't mix. You know, my friend used to have a saying. He goes, yeah, every time I drink, I break out in handcuffs.
Handcuffs, yeah. Every time I drink, I break out in handcuffs.
Right?
Me too, man.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that's not a part of my life anymore.
Oh,
I got a whole different life. I'm focused on what I'm doing now. I got goals and aspirations, and I'm making it happen, you know?
Yeah. You're killing it. I can't believe, like, who you're getting on your show and just how many, you know, constantly putting out content. I love it.
Every day. Try to get them out every day. I do lives every day. I drop videos every day. So just trying to bring it to another level, man.
Right. You got to take care of yourself too at the same time. So
yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm planning on getting into the nice weather next year, and I'm gonna start riding all summer. It's gonna be great. So
yeah, we ride in the summer here too. We'll go, but we leave early. We'll leave at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're back by like noon. But by the time we come back, I mean, out here, guys wear hydration vests. You put them in water.
Yeah.
Put it on, and then it's kind of like air conditioning as you ride through the heat. But yeah, I mean, I did like 3,000 miles just doing these little Saturday trips, and like a couple of months over the summer, me and my buddy, you know, and we had a great time. You know, you're up at, you know, 6 o'clock, you're on the road, man. Nobody's out there. It's just cool.
I can't wait to start riding, man.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. I'll bring you on for a live where we'll do this again.
All right.
I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you having me on, Bill. It was a pleasure.
Is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to before we go?
I'll give a shout out to Podowski. I give a shout out to Big Steve, and any Death Marauders that are still out there and doing it. Shout out to you, brothers.
I look forward to seeing what you got going on in the future.
All right, Bill. Have a good night.
If you like the show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like the show, too bad. Start your own podcast. Peace.